Now, for all the amount, I'd say for the amount of time that I spend time hating on the iPhone, you can call it hating, but it's not a good product. I thoroughly enjoy the Mac. So in addition to asking you to subscribe, I'd like to tell you about today's video sponsor, Patti LaBelle's Southern Peach Cobbler with extra crust. And I'm holding it like this because I got the outside of the box sticky. I don't even like peach cobbler like that, but this mess is good. Use mine almost every day. It's a great computer. Absolutely great computer. Using it right now, actually. But I think, and this goes beyond Apple. But I'm using their website, and hopefully when I talk about my other devices, I'll put some pictures up or something. I don't know. But I think for the time being, we've reached not quite terminal compute, because I'm not going to be one of those. We definitely have plateaued some, which I am not a person who expects the type of gains that we got going from Intel to Apple Silicon every year. Like, that's just stupid. But going from Intel to Apple Silicon was so good that for the subsequent years, they've been iterative updates. And before you think, being a naysayer, no. What I'm saying is that I'm still using my M1 Pro MacBook Pro from whatever year it came out. I think, 4 years ago at this point. I think it came out in the spring of 2021, I think. It's a great product. I have literally zero complaints. I cannot complain about this thing because it is absolutely amazing. And it just made me think like, hey, I see these reviewers. I see them talking about the M2s. And yes, I did buy an M2 MacBook Air, not because there was anything wrong with my M1 MacBook Air, but because I just like the form factor change. Screen was a little bit bigger. I think the front-facing camera was a little bit better. You got MagSafe, which I never used. Just a different machine. So I said, hey, let me give it a try. Plus, for the model that I bought on eBay, it had 16 gigs of RAM, which finally is now standard in MacBooks. And it had 512 gigs of storage. So I was like, hey, this is exactly what I'm looking for. And it was the blue color. So it was perfect. Bought it, used it. Kept it for a while, and I ended up giving it to a friend who was using a very old Intel Mac. And plus, I thought that investing in and taking the time to use these Qualcomm laptops would be worthwhile. And, I'm not going to say that it wasn't, but that MacBook Air was definitely better than either of the Qualcomm laptops that I have. But I digress back to the purpose of this video. And hopefully I can do it in under 10 minutes. I always fail when I try to make predictions. So looking at the variations of these devices. So we have the 14-inch MacBook Pro with M4. And then we have the 16-inch MacBook Pro with M4 Pro. Or probably M4 Max is probably how it's designated. And then, just going all the way back to what I'm currently using, the 16-inch M1 Pro MacBook Pro. And yes, screens, I think, are exactly the same for the 16 inches. And of course, just, it's slightly smaller for the 14. But then, you have your different chips, which is expected. They're all capable of Apple Intelligence. Okay. So then now we're looking at the core counts. So for what I'm using, and then for the base 14-inch MacBook Pro, both 10 core, and then for the M4, it's up to 16 core. So you'd have to go to the webpage for that specific product to see what the lowest number of cores is, and then up to 16. Here's where we have differences between the GPUs. So, it is what it is. So technically, my older 16-inch or 14-inch, if I had a 14-inch M1 Pro MacBook Pro, would have more GPU cores than the current M4 regular 14-inch MacBook Pro. So it's like, this older device might perform better depending on the specific task that you're using. RAM options, storage options, okay. But here is really where I'm just like, it's interesting. So up to 21 hours for what I'm using, and 24 up to for both M4 products. And I feel like that's good, but at the same time, I'm just like, is it? I mean, the number's higher. So I guess objectively looking at it, I'd have to say, that's a better performing machine with regards to battery life. But of course, it all depends on what you're doing. But what has happened, in my opinion, is, at least with the bigger devices, is that they've reached the largest capacity battery that these devices are going to ever have, because there are laws in place to say you can't have a laptop with a battery bigger than this. And I think it's like 99 watt hours, or whatever the terminology is. I think it's 99. And I feel like this one, along with the other 16-inch MacBook Pro, has that. Now with the smaller one, since it has a smaller screen, smaller footprint, they want to put a smaller battery in it. They can't make the battery life on that better than that of that year's 16-inch device. So if the 16-inch is capped out, then the 14-inch is capped out. And until new technology, heck, I was just ragging on another YouTuber for talking about the reason that these phone batteries have gotten so much better is because of new technology, which was half true. Maybe that is what's required for these laptop batteries. Maybe we do need a new technology to make it so that the battery's capacity doesn't necessarily get higher, but gets more efficient. I don't know. Something needs to change. But there are laws in place to say, hey, batteries can't get bigger than this. So with that being said, it's just like, oh, well, cool. Am I going to spend the additional dollars on this new machine if even something like battery life doesn't really get that much better? I believe when I bought my 16-inch Pro, it wasn't this past summer. Was it the summer before? It might have been the summer before. I don't remember. Summer of 2023. No, I don't remember when I bought it. But it was used, and I paid, I think, $1,500 for it. And it has 32 gigs of RAM. Not terabyte SSD, but 32 gigs of RAM. So it's like that was upgraded by the previous owner. So it's like, hey, buying a used product makes sense. So yeah, battery life doesn't seem to, it technically has improved some, but it is what it is. And it always depends on what you, the user, are actually doing. Touch ID is extremely reliable. I don't know why I hesitated. I think I was trying to figure out how I was going to phrase it. Oh, it hasn't changed. Yeah, it hasn't changed because it's very reliable, because it's already good. So yeah, no complaints there. But yeah, take a look at all the the stuff here if you want to. It may have a bunch of options, and it's up to you to decide which one you want. But at the end of the day, I don't think too much has really changed. You might get a tweak in performance if you're doing this task, a tweak in performance if you're doing that task. But older machines might perform better if you're doing this task. So yeah, you take a look. And you scroll down, it's all, the same stuff that we've already talked about. And like looking at the screens, though, as we briefly mentioned up top, that, the screen resolution is exactly the same. Peak brightness, exactly the same. It looks like SDR brightness has gotten better for the newer one, but is that important to you? If it is, cool. If not, then yeah, do you need, and again, this is the M4 Pro and the M1, so there are two machines in between that I'm not even talking about. That do exist that might fill in some gaps right there for what little they actually are. Machines almost exactly the same in terms of weight and footprint. What do we get here? A Dish Advanced Image Signal Processor with computational video. Nope, I got that. So, this is support for desk view. 12 megapixel center stage camera. Cool. For a person like myself who at one point was trying to do reviews and would have stuff on the desk and have a camera, whether it's a phone or another camera, propped up like this or in front of me like that, yeah, I guess that would be nice. If I had an iPhone, then I could have done that, in conjunction with the Mac. But hey, cool, they added it. But it looks like, yeah, you get that on the 14-inch Pro 2. Speakers, sounds good. Looks like they might have upgraded the speakers. I'm sorry, I'm still looking at a problem. I forgot to mention, but I keep forgetting when I'm looking at this, that even though I know that the machine on the left is the least powerful one, it's not the MacBook Air M4, because they haven't released it yet. But here's all the other stuff. All this just to say, Bluetooth, yeah, is a little bit better. Wi-Fi 6E, okay, cool. You get Thunderbolt 5, if that's something that you need. Personally, yes, I'm happy that Thunderbolt 5 is there. Happy that Thunderbolt 4 exists. I don't have any Thunderbolt devices. So it's like, well, I'm not personally getting any advantage from it. But if that's something important to you, then yeah, hey, Thunderbolt 5. And a lot of other similar stuff. And, battery life, 14 for web browsing, On the Macs, 14 also, 16. So, just different numbers. But 140 watt hour, oh, that's the charger. So there it is. Integrated 100 watt hour lithium polymer battery. Exactly the same. So this battery over here will never be bigger than this one or have a higher capacity. So if this is capped, then that means this is capped. So until they figure something out, it looks like the only battery improvements we're going to see are through efficiency, through chip efficiency, which is probably the harder of the two. I mean, yes, putting a higher capacity battery would be easier if you could, but legally, I don't think they can. So that's it. But I think that's it. And I am going to cut this one short because I might make another video for my Windows products. Because I kind of feel the same way there, that for me personally, this would be maybe a little teaser if I ever actually make the video, that Intel 12th generation chips are good. 13 and 14, not so much. I know they had a bunch of issues with some of them, and whatever they're doing now with their rebranding of the Core Ultra, I've gotten confused. And I haven't taken the time to fully understand what those words mean. And for the 12th generation Intel products that I have, they perform exactly the way that I need them to do. So with that being said, the Mac is great. I don't want anybody thinking this is, oh, he hates them. Nope. I'm just saying it got so good 3 years ago that the next 3 iterations of the Mac, I don't know if it's worth buying. If you already have one of the M1 versions. Now, today, would I recommend somebody go buy an M1 product? No. Because, yeah, the new ones technically are just better. And at some point, Apple's going to stop supporting them. Made videos about that too, that the Mac, since it's all Apple Silicon based, and they're in control of what devices they choose to support, via their operating systems. The Apple Silicon Mac has to be supported longer than the longest iPhone ever supported, which I think was a success, and 2, it has to be supported longer than the iPhone that came out the same year as it. So those, 2 separate things, and I feel like the success argument would be a longer argument in terms of number of years supported. But at the same time, it's like, in 2001, what did the iPhone 12 come out or something, or the third? I don't know, whatever iPhone. So as long as that's supported via iOS, the Mac that came out that same year has to continue being supported, because this is a full-fledged computer, and that's just a phone, which is a computer also, but I get it. So again, the Mac is great. If you don't have one, consider getting one. I mean, heck, even if you're like, I need Windows, I'd be like, look, buy the Mac and just virtualize Windows on it. And you'll probably still have a better experience.